Shalom, family. Glory be to God and blessed be the Lamb. Good morning. That was an opinion piece in the New York Times, a reputable legacy news organization. It was about systemic rape by the Israeli military. You know, the Israeli immediately screamed anti-Semitism and blood libel, but this is the New York Times with a reputation of credibility. Yet they scream anti-Semitism and blood libel. Blood libel. You know, they twist this in their head by saying it's not just an article about systemic rape in the military. They say that it's anti-Semitic because he's talking about Jewish people. Their words, Jewish people. Think about that. They're not arguing actually if it happened or not. They're saying that the article was written as an anti-Semitic hit piece. Now, what have we seen with our own eyes? Rape after rape after rape. We've even seen them train dogs how to rape Palestinians. I guess we've even seen them march in the streets for their right to rape Palestinians. We've seen them marching through the streets of Israel demanding that their soldiers have the right to rape Palestinian prisoners of war, both the men and women. What was the first thing we have seen them do? Disrobe dozens of men, sit them in the middle of the street so that they could oogle at them naked. First thing we seen. So you think that someone who goes out and intentionally bombs children and women ain't capable of rape? That they intentionally say that they killed the children because they will become Hamas members later. They kill the women so they won't give birth. They say so openly. They say so openly. The scourge of the planet. The scourge. The standardized definition of humanity has been reduced to nothing by them. Devil worshippers. Devil worshippers who has managed to cajole, outmaneuver, and threaten the majority of Americans. Tentacles are everywhere. Say something about them, and you can lose your job in America. Can you imagine this? They are the ones who have destroyed free speech. They are the ones who have destroyed your right to privacy. They are the ones who have put you into the poorhouse. Them. They feel absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. You are going to collapse because you're fighting their wars that they can't win. 40 trillion in debt, $1.3 trillion request for military budgets, trillions of dollars, and they can't even account for billions and billions missing right now. But anyway, they're not rapists. Dude, yes, you are. You have a culture of it. Like America has slowly developed a culture of rape, incest, molestation, sexual assault. But where did it start? Contemporaneously. You keep letting people over here that carry this germ. They carry the germ. Okay? They carry the germ. But you can't blame them. You really can't. You blame those who make the environment. Who has created the environment for it to fester in, maintain itself? Who? Who has the most power in this country? More than the president, obviously. The the Israelis. They openly brag about how much influence they have in this country, making up 2% of the population. They openly brag. They openly bribe your officials. Openly. Openly. Who would have thought that you could say out loud, I gave this person $200 million to, take over the Gaza policy? That's bribery. Open, open air bribery. I'm going to buy U.S. foreign policy for $200 million. So for $200 million, I get tens of billions of dollars in return. I want you to think about it. For $200 million, I get tens of billions of dollars in returns of military hardware, material fucking support, cash outlays, and loan guarantees. For $200 million, what kind of investment is that? For $200 million. Just let that just sink in. Let this just sink in a second. 200 million and billions of dollars in return. As your politicians watch, some of you, your politicians have made it to where even the cities must send money to Israel. Now, I want you to think about this. They're taking money at the federal level. They're taking money at the state level. They're taking money at the city level. One city tried to stop it because they're going broke, and the state officials stepped in. They stepped in to force you to support a people that you don't want to. We Americans are seeing a lot of this, ain't it? This government is going to get its hat brought to it yet. This is America. You're going to get your hat brought to you yet. Yet, you don't tell Americans what to do. Nobody ever has. And that's what most foreigners don't get. They come from places that they are told what to do and what they can do. What a lovely life that must be for the politicians of their cultures. I just tell them something and they'll do it. I fixed a system that will just go and beat them up and fucking arrest them as they force them into a third world life. A third world life. And not one shot fired. Not one uprising. Not one uprising. Not one march against their respective governments. Instead, they all flee. They all flee and they end up here. Okay? They all flee and they end up here. So you think about that. As you're being pushed further and further and further down into third world reality, as the people who are around you are uplifted from their third world reality. Who created their reality? But I'm drifting. Anyway, Israelis and rape. I only brought up all of this to touch on their influence. Shit like liberalism, that come from them. Liberalism is not something that is indicative of America. It's not. It comes from somewhere else. Okay? And then you let those who come from somewhere else start to take positions of authority, civics, council members. I can tell you now, if you come through the southern states and where the sanctuary cities, parts of California, San Antonio, you can find them illegally with no paper, sitting on boards like school boards, a city council. It's illegal. Illegal. Okay, it's illegal. And in the face of this illegality, they expect respect and for the words out of their mouth to be respected. It's not going to happen. What part of illegal you don't get? You don't get. And I'm going to tell you again, I don't know why we have to remind folks of this. I've reminded people on personal levels and even on public levels. You can make a deal with that person, okay? That deal has nothing to do with anyone else, especially in this country. Like they're finding out, they really believe that the government control us, and they can tell us what to do, when to do it. You come to the wrong country. They never have, and they can't. Do it look like this country is set up to be controlled? Why do you think they have to go after speech, which is robbery of your ears? They can't stop you from listening, but they can try to stop the other from speaking. So the competition is for your mind, and they can't do it with their truth. They have to do it by hiding shit from you. They have to do it by presenting false images that don't exist. They have to do it by arguments as to whether they're rapists or not when we've seen them on TV, on video. We've seen them marching. Plus, we've read the Talmud. We even heard one of their holy people, I guess it was a rabbi, come out and say that it is within the Jewish law that they rape the prisoners to relieve the stress. This is a rabbi, a man of God, I guess his God. But you will catch the same group of rabbis giving newborn babies circumcisions as they molest the child. I can pull up them pictures too. I can pull them up, and they know I can. And you know what? Know what? Know what they're gonna scream? Anti-Semitism, blood libel, and it still doesn't dawn on them. This is why you've been kicked out of 109 countries. It's not the countries. Some people should not be where anyone else is. They should be by themselves on an island, secluded from everyone else. They should not see them. They should not hear them. It should just be them. And they will gut each other out. They'll gut each other out. Do you think a country of 9 million really believes, well, I can take on a country of 90 million and I win? No. The idea isn't about winning as in victory. It is about draining this country's coffers, keeping the money out your mouth any way they can. Okay? And the people who they would support, which is just like them, they try to make sure through the federal government and state governments that they are taken care of by selection. It's called what is called. Okay? This is how liberalism works. If you don't speak against me, I will feed your belly. Speak against me, and I will try to starve you. And the weak ones who love their bellies more than anything else will always operate against you, and they can always find one. That's why we didn't want a bunch of impoverished people here. The greater the exploited pool, meaning people who can be exploited because they're hungry, homeless, have to do something. Well, you got to mess up the rest of society because you give the exploitee more places to do fucked up shit at. And and you won't protect what's there. You refuse to. You can refuse to. I'm going to call a spade a spade. Hurt me or mine or stand against God, and we just going to have a problem. We just going to have a problem. I'm not going to support ever lone lawbreakers. Ever. It ain't because I give a damn about the law, okay? But here's my position: we are the only ones who are brought to bear, who are brought to carpet as far as any kind of law, any kind. Everybody else, I'm gonna tell you again, everybody else disregards the law, and they'll say so openly. And the same people who have disregarded the law want to come and act like that they are this and that, and they believe the labels. Believe the labels. I, I said years ago, that this gonna end badly. It's gonna end badly because you got the wrong generation. People are tired of it. People from Asia to Africa to the West. And in Africa, they finna start chasing their ass with the spears and fucking machetes. Government is not gonna save them because the people have spoke. And when the government's sitting there like, well, it serves our purposes, and the people paid us to get them here, well, they die. And they should die. They should die because of what they're saying without saying it. They're saying, screw your livelihood, screw your culture, screw your value system, which they're going to all bring their own and into your country and act like they are equal and on the same foundation as you. I wouldn't do that in anyone else's country. And I've been to a few foreign countries. I understand. Not once did I start to take on the arrogance that I have as much rights as the Germans. I have as much right. Hold on. I have as much right to be in Frankfurt, Walbrunn, and Würzburg as the people born there. That's some weirded out shit. That's some weirded out shit. Okay? And no government is going to stop it. So I can tell you now, in 20 days, you will turn on your TV set because we've seen this about 10 years ago. Was it in South Africa? I don't remember. But we seen it then. They were chasing their asses around with machetes. If someone had, man, this, I don't even understand it. Here's what I understand. There's a segment of the world that believes that they can violate the world's order. They believe it, and they do. And in the United States, up until now, you can get away with it. That's why they hate Donald Trump. That's one of the reasons. He's the only one fucking enforcing law. Straight up. Straight up. Ain't nobody else enforcing law. Okay? But that doesn't make me a Trump fan. But again, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Maybe they shouldn't have made themselves enemies. Maybe they should have seen what they were doing. Maybe they should have listened, and they were being spoke to. And we still wound up here anyway, didn't we? Didn't we? We still wound up here anyway. How we get here? Because they don't have to listen in their heads. They don't have to. And these ain't the smartest people. You have to understand, these are the people ability to conceptualize and to forward think is not there. It's not there. It's not supposed to be there because they come from countries with third world educations. Okay? And a third world education is an education of a worker. A worker, not just a worker, but any worker, a unskilled worker. Unskilled. That's the education that they get. To do what with? Nobody knows. But yet, that's not the problem. The problem is them. Because in those countries, they won't rise up. In those countries, they won't protest. In those countries, they won't even attempt to fix their own governments. Yet, they can flee. And they are the government. I keep saying it is their daughters, their sons who are the government. Why are they running from what? And in Latin America, they running from gang members. They were running from gang members. But guess who the gang members are? Them. So the gang members from Latin America followed them here. And they're here now, thanks to your Democratic Party. Again, they have endangered you for at least 5 to 6 years, really 15 years if it was going along its normal trajectory. And it's not. It's being interrupted. That's why everybody's mad. They see the fix. They see us see the fix. But where did it all start? Liberalism. Liberalism. This thought that we should have a borderless planet. Borderless. Where, people can just go from one border and cross the next border. But here's the problem. Have you noticed that no one's crossing their borders? Because no one wants to go there, except as a tourist. See? It works one way. No one wants to go into third world conditions. Well, some of them other folks might, to be curious. To be curious. But that's the end of it. So what happens at the end of the day if you don't do something about it? And you're going to do something about it. Okay? You get swallowed. You get swamped. Cultural imposition. They will attempt to impose their culture on yours, their belief system on yours, their value system on yours that was not founded or conditioned here. Okay? Know what they call that? They call that a refusal to assimilate. A refusal. It's a cultural imposition until now. Now everybody's quiet. And it's a damn shame that the mighty U.S. government seems helpless to do anything other than what they're doing. Helpless. And the people who have pushed this is actually, it can be easily argued as it being treason against the American people. Treason. Treason. See what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, where's all of this going? We started with the Israeli rapists. You ever notice how, man, you ain't doing the math. Pull up the rape stats from all of these countries where all these people from. Pull up the rape numbers. Pull up the rape numbers from India, Bangladesh, Mexico, Belize, Haiti, other parts of Latin America, and you're going to see huge rape numbers. So did you think that the rape wasn't going to go up here when you're busy inviting the rapists over here without knowing who they are? And what immediately happened? Everything jumped. Okay? And everybody acts like they don't see it because they don't want to be responsible politically. It's like I said yesterday. Notice that no one is tough on crime because they don't want the political blowback. They know what people are going to do. As soon as they say that we're going to jump on an anti-crime bandwagon, they're going to have to answer questions. Hit the microphone. And that's what they don't want to do. Because you can wake up every morning and go about your day and you see what the issue is. And they want to be quiet. They want you to be quiet too. as it solidifies itself into the fucking American landscape, like everything else does. Like everything else does. They're literally saying, and they said out loud, that you're gonna suffer, so we can stop their suffering. What was responsibility of their own governments to stop their suffering? Huh? What was their responsibility? What kind of government can stand to lose a quarter of its population? What kind of government can export its poverty, which is what they did? Export their losers, export their poverty. That's what they did, and they sitting pretty. Why? No more poverty there. No more poverty. Now they can live their lives without what they would consider the underclass of their own. See? Like America is just one big trash can. Secondly, when you start to tell the whole world, we got opportunity here. No, you don't. We have jobs here. No, you don't. We got housing here. No, you don't. No, you don't. And everybody knows it. If you did, then people wouldn't be starving. People wouldn't be homeless everywhere. People wouldn't be living in their cars everywhere. Okay? Yet, who in the midst of at least 30% poverty rate brings over more poor people? Who brings over more poor people in the midst of poverty? Anyway, I'm undrifting. I am adrifting. The point is simple. It is simple. You ain't gonna get this country back until you enforce the law. Those who have broke the law must be brought to carpet. Must be. I'm not gonna respect criminals ever. And like I said yesterday, you are inundated with foreign ideologies, foreign understandings, foreign perspectives, and foreign value systems competing with the value system that's founded, nurtured in the United States. And there's going to be pushback, big time. I keep saying that at the end of the day, they're going to round you guys up. By you guys, I mean all of the perpetrators, all of the people who made it possible with policy, abusing their positions, willfully flaunting the law, willfully flaunt the law because their ideological agendas don't fit within any known law. So that makes them criminal. That makes them criminal. Do with that as you would. But you're being robbed blind. 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 Millions, man, you have no idea. Millions of dollars annually, as per city. Millions are going unaccounted for, off the books. The people don't know where this money going to. But we know. We know. So I'm going to tell you again, perhaps you should consider putting every city council decision, every state level decision to a referendum of the voters. Take it to the citizens. Take it to the citizens. But here's the point. They don't represent the citizens anymore. And they know, the citizens know that. Okay? So now they have to outrun the citizens as the citizens watch facts on the ground be solidified. And they're thinking, as long as we can allow the facts on the ground to continuously take root deeper and deeper and deeper, they're going to just get away with it. But I would tell them, look at South Africa right now, because they were thinking the same thing. They've had children there. They found jobs when the South Africans born there, can't find jobs. And it's the same reasoning. The people who come to South Africa don't have the history of the South Africans or the white folks in South Africa. So the white folks in South Africa want them there to act as a buffer between the very people who they fucked over in South Africa and themselves. It's the same thing here. It's the same thing here. Okay? Just with a, a different twist. All of them are black by terms of melanin, but the South African knows who the Ghanaian is. The South African knows who the Congolesian is. See? And they don't want them there. They don't want them there. They don't want anybody there. And no one else should either. If your government wants to have the ability to diversify, then let your government go where they are. Africa or South Africa is for South Africans. Period. Let me speak it further. South Africa is for South Africans. Again, if you live in these other countries like a Nigeria, a Ghana, then you got problems on the ground. Organize, you protest, march, and you fix your government until it reflects your wishes. What you don't have the right to do, except by Western style liberalism and open border thinking, I'll just go over here. I'll just go over there. I'll just move over there, irrespective of what anyone else thinks. And this is where the world puts its foot down. This is what you're gonna get ugly at. So pay attention to South Africa. Okay? Because what's happening here is happening there is gonna eventually happen here. It's gonna happen here because we have a choice to make. Either you suffer or you stand your ass up and you stop it. You suffer, you go hungry, you go homeless while they are spending money hands over fist on non-citizens. Hand over fist. Okay? Good luck, folks. Good luck. Later on this evening, we're going to talk about the Democratic Party and its attempt to wipe black people completely off the map with the help of red states. We're going to talk about that later. Okay? And I'm going to take you down a step-by-step process of how they've done it over the last 35 or 40 years with souls to the polls, all this stuff. Now we find out that you are so, boy, welcome home, black woman. Welcome home, that you are so unrepresented as foundational black Americans that I guarantee you 80% of everything we see posing as black and then government is not even us. And we didn't know. We've been voting our ass off thinking that we're voting for black people like us. Then as soon as they get there, they started doing for everything else but black. Now I understand that. Now I understand that because they're not black. They're not black. They vote immigrant. And this is how we suffer. They vote for immigrant needs, immigrant issues, whether they have melanin in their skin or not. And what does that leave you? Without any voice at all. And they've said, screw it. They know it's wrong and they don't care. So I'm not going to care. And I know I'm right. Good luck, folks. This is politics. And it's going to get cutthroat. Get ready for it. I'm Source. I'm 7. I'm 1.